Similarly, the country's self-assessment report exercise was carried out in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Present at the venue hosted in Imo State were the National Coordinator, Auda-Nepad APRM Nigeria, Princess Gloria Akobundu, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, represented by his deputy, Professor Placid Njoku, NGC members, state and non-state actors, and technical research institutions. In her opening remarks, the coordinator of Auda-Nepad APRM, Princess Gloria Akobundu, while welcoming the Continental Mission representative and all the participants to the validation exercise, abreast the participants on the objectives of the program.
I'm here with African Union lead panel and his colleague to validate our document across the 36 states, including FCT of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the leadership and approval of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, who assented to the MOU with the member states of the African Union to undergo this exercise. So what we are here to do is to discuss this document. You tell us how governance has fared under the 4 thematic areas. The lead panel, we mentioned all those words. Me, I'm a Nigerian. I'm not meant to talk about the documents I presented. So far they've been in the country, investigating the document, destroying what we reported, that this is Nigeria, this is who we are, this is where we're coming from, this is where we are today, of which at the end of the day, this document, the findings, will help us consolidate democracy and economic growth in our dear country.
Ours is the country review mission, which is composed of 19 very highly qualified and dynamic researchers, is to come and validate this country self-assessment report, and out of that come up with a report that we call a country review report.
We are reviewing Nigeria. We are reviewing the circumstances of Nigeria. We are reviewing those factors that have limited us and giving ourselves an opportunity to air our views about how we can make Nigeria better. And for us in the Southeast, we are particularly interested in the peer review mechanism because we consciously are interested in using it as a modality for improving on good governance, improving on those elements that make society more enjoyable.
Consequently, participants were given the floor to make their contributions on the performance of the government on the thematic areas as captured in the report.
This synergy between the faith-based organizations and the government. Over there in Germany, where Caritas took its shape, and of course, without the government, so to say, the Caritas organization in Germany, especially in Munich, in Bayern, where I lived and worked, they could not have achieved so much. The government supports the faith-based, the church, in order that the church may then support the poor ones, those who need our help.
Getting admission with 3 marks of Unity School. And some of us here, our children with 300 points are still low. We have to lobby. When I say lobby, we have to give cash for them to get admission. Please, I want us to look into that, because that has made some of us who would have preferred our children to go to Unity School. We cannot get it.
In Imo State today, we want to have established schools, just like my sister that spoke here before. Being the former education committee chairman, I can tell you that in Imo State we are not enjoying good facilities in our schools. And I know that from the federal, there are certain things that people will do for us, for our children to go to school and come out there to challenge other people from private schools. We need it in Imo State.
Speaking on certifying the report were participants who praised the good programs of the government in various sectors of the state.
May I now thank Mr. President, His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, whose instrumentality through our sister here is now looking inward towards solving some of the agitations that has hitherto belabored our dear southeastern states.
Many years back, special citizens are not included in the hem of affairs. But with the recent administration of His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, people with disabilities are being included and integrated into the political emancipation of Nigeria.
At the end of the exercise, the panel member thanked the participants for adhering to the inclusive opportunity provided by the APRM.
I want to sincerely appreciate all the submissions that you have made to us, and I would want to say we have received all of them, and at this point in time we can safely say we have got the sentiment of what the people of Imo State would want His Excellency Muhammad Buhari to know.
For Northwest Geopolitical Zone, the validation exercise was held at the Coronation Hall, Kano, under the auspices of the State Governor, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the Emir of Kano, NJC members, as well as the Country Review Mission member. Equally present were representatives from states within the zone, public and private sector executives, NGOs and CSOs, women and youths, including persons with disabilities. The governor, in his opening remark, noted that the significance of the exercise would help strengthen democracy.
For our dear country to obtain good governance, we must support the federal government of Nigeria in its effort to rectify the socio-economic damages inflicted on the country and support its intent to strengthen democratic ideals for the uttermost good of Nigerians. I therefore appeal to all to work collectively towards achieving the ideals of good governance with the aim of making it a reality.
Discussion that will follow after will definitely give an insight of what has happened, what progress has been made, and where we are going forward. I am sure this documentation will help the leaders to improve in their governance, to improve in the economic development of this country, and to improve also in our democratic system.
Kamar yadda yake a cikin manufofin sabon shirin haɗin gwiwa don haɓaka tattalin arzikin ƙasashen Afirka, wato Nepad. Muna cike da farin ciki a kodayaushe idan muka duba matakan da aka ƙudurce.
Upon Mr. President's approval of the conduct and second peer review of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the National Governing Council was inaugurated to drive the process of the ongoing review in all 6 geopolitical zones in line with AU APRM time frame and guidelines. Accordingly, several activities were carried out, including country support mission, broad sensitization, consultation and training sessions for sharing experiences for the conduct of the second peer review.
The country self-assessment report is a just 5 of the data collected through administration of review questionnaires by the National Governing Council to the public and private sector, including the critical sectors, both virtually and physically, which is among the requirements for effective country self-assessment.
The APL team, Your Excellency, we have come to your state to have the widest possible consultations with your people, to hear the views of ladies and gentlemen from the state, so that we can be able to put together a very balanced report that captures the views of all segments and sectors of your economy.
Participants were given the floor to interrogate and corroborate the report, including sharing experience on governance.
In Africa, one of our biggest problems is electricity. When there is light, I think the youth will engage themselves, the country will engage themselves. But to all dismay, as we are seated here, and if one can be a testimony to what I'm saying, it is very, very difficult having light in Africa. Most importantly, a country like Nigeria.
We should address some of our peculiarities. Most of our empowerment programs targeted at youth, they don't go far because they are not addressing our needs. And I think we need to begin to review what we do for our youth. And Kano State government is taking that lead in diversifying in the area of youth empowerment, where they are pushed to be employers of labor also.
The whole of the Northwest, or even Nigeria, records an improved involvement of citizens in the preparation of budgets. Specifically in Jigawa, we conduct citizen input collection across the 3 senatorial districts. And not only collecting the input of the citizens go ahead to monitor if those projects are actually in the approved budgets, if the projects are implemented, how are they implemented, and at the end of the year, collect what % of the input is executed or roll over into the subsequent year.
Women get this zeal and determination to want to do something, but they are being violated and oppressed. How would I say? Yes, oppressed most times. So if there are policies governing the activities surrounding gender that empowers women to be able to speak out their voices and act in appropriate manners, I believe there is going to be change in the world.
I just want to give my input on the issue of the youth contribution to the development of this country. I can say that the youth have categorically contributed both in informal and formal sector of this country. But I think there's an issue that we need to address if we actually need to get the impact of the contribution of the youth. One of it is to ensure that we're able to sensitize the youth to ensure that this mentality of making it fast is not in them anymore. Because a lot of our youth have good intention, but with the mind of getting it fast, they ended up a kind of being, instead of contributing positively, they end up contributing in such a way that it will not give a positive impact to the society.
Also, in Northeast Zone, the exercise was well attended by people from all walks of life. It had the attendance of the Deputy Governor of Gombe State, Auda-Nepad APRM representative, Country Review Mission members, and NJC members. State and non-state actors, including representatives from the traditional institution. The Deputy Governor, while declaring the meeting open, maintained that the exercise would aid socio-economic development in the country.
The Economic Development Program of the African Union which is aimed at providing vision and policy framework for accelerating economic cooperation and integration among African countries, is indeed a radical intervention that will guarantee African rejuvenation. You will also agree that the recently introduced African Continental Free Trade Agreement is another of such moves to bring us together to see how we develop.
This interaction for today, what they will do is to interrogate the report that Mr. President has graciously approved with the Federal Executive Council and has directed us to go with them to the 6 geopolitical zones so that they will interrogate this document. And by the time it is done and it is handy, Mr. President will be debriefed, and once it becomes a wholesome document, he will take it to the African Union for him to peer review with heads of states and government.
Experts from the African Union asked questions on the thematic areas of the APRM, and the participants responded accordingly.
So, without further ado, if you allow me, I would like to start with the questions, and particularly in the area of socio-economic development, but I will also be stretching it out to the democratic and political governance, knowing that women issues and gender issues overall are considered being cross-cutting throughout the report that was kindly developed by our colleagues from the national structure here in Nigeria. So it has come to our attention within the report that there are some policies, very commendable policies, that were implemented by the government of Nigeria, either implemented or enacted. However, we're not so sure of the implementation, how far it has reached, and what is the impact. I'm speaking specifically about the senior secondary school certificate examination. From us to you is to find out if the objective of investing in over 1 million women through the government's enterprise and empowerment program, but also other initiatives, social initiatives like the homegrown school feeding program, and the first one which I mentioned, which is the senior secondary school certificate examination payment of the fees. And so basically, how are we estimating the impact and the reach of such measures? Thank you so much.
I want to respond to the last component of the question on the impact of the homegrown school feeding. Essentially, it has provided the opportunity to expand access to basic education, and equally has provided a good platform for improving retention in the schools, as well as improving the learning outcome in the long run.
I just want to add to what the man from Bauchi said. There is a chunk of our children that are left out, the informal Quranic schools. That should be captured. These children are malnourished. They have not been, in short, they have not been going to school. I'm not saying that should be encouraged, but we should try to grab them in a way so that they can enjoy from the school feeding program.
The highlight of the meeting was in the area of experience sharing by the states in the Northeast, especially in tackling insecurity.
Everybody is aware that before now, all the states in the Northeast were affected. But presently, is becoming a thing of the past in some of the states in this Northeast. In fact, before now, some areas were actually occupied, large areas, but presently, it has actually reduced. And what the government, whether state government or the federal government, what they have done is that they have put in resources together to fight this insecurity. For example, there is Northeast Forum that comprise of all the governors in the Northeast. They are actually looking at the way to fight insecurity together in the Northeast.
I was opportune to participate in one of the impact assessment staged by FAO. We went round almost about 46 local governments within these northeastern states. And what we found in place, to be frank and to be sincere, not only, I can say, the government in that particular areas, but rather, even those that are not part of the government, directly, I mean something like the traditional rulers, the police, community relations, organizations, are trying to see that this issue of insecurity is combated to the barest minimum. I can cite an example with two local governments in Adamawa State, Mubi and Jada. What I saw on ground and the kind of engagement strategy they adopted is quite interesting, in such a way that we even target as each one paid up, each one inform one, each one engage one. That has helped a lot in disseminating information from the grassroots, and the security personnel also have it, can I say, in a simple way, they gather all the intelligence reports they want, and they now develop the mechanism of proactiveness in curbing that particular, whatever challenge in terms of security they have.
For North Central Zone, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, who represented the governor, commended the Auda-Nepad APRM Nigeria on the exercise.
Let me also commend the CEO of Auda-Nepad Nigeria, Princess Gloria Akobundu, for the tremendous effort she has put into this process. The structure from the national to the state and the local government levels ensures that the process is reflective of the views of the Nigerian populace.
Other stakeholders also hailed the magnitude of the exercise as well.
Following the approval of Mr. President for the conduct of the second peer review of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you may be pleased to know that African Peer Review Mechanism Nigerian Secretariat, together with the National Governing Council, the NGC, have recorded remarkable progress in the process of this exercise, to the aim of making the review a transparent and all-inclusive one.
The North Central Geopolitical Zone of Nigeria gathered here today comprises of 6 states, including Niger, Kwara, Kogi, Benue, Nasarawa, Plateau, and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, making it 7. The second peer review town hall meetings took place in all the state capitals and the FCT at various dates in 2020. The self-assessment process was participatory and inclusive.
The traditional rulers of the state, we want to assure that we'll always be there for you. Whatever kind of advice, because especially the council in Nasarawa State that we know better, is made up of highly profiled, profound traditional rulers that you can always find them useful when you want to tap on their experiences.
Participants also contributed by authenticating the programs executed in the states, which were captured in the report.
Allow me to mention that Nigeria will be the first pioneer country in the whole of West Africa to be reviewed for the second time. And it will be the fourth country on the African continent to be reviewed for the second time. The other countries Uganda, Kenya, and Mozambique.
Are you happy with the infrastructure in this country? We are not happy with the infrastructure in this country. Government should do more in the areas of infrastructure. Elected representatives should be held accountable.
Nonetheless, they called for improvement in socio-economic activities.
These rules are not known to the citizens. It is only when you commit an offense that they will bring a piece of paper and tell you that you have violated this rule. And we also discussed and agreed in the group that there's poor communication between government and citizens.
So I just want to say that we must critically analyze whoever that is contesting for a political office. By doing so, we will actually correct the system we're talking about. Not because if you look at the way our political class are coming out for election, you will have maybe a professor, you will have maybe a PhD holder, and then you will have maybe just OND holder, who probably the OND holder may have money, the professor has no money, the PhD holder has no money, and we will turn away from the most experienced person who will lead based on his experience. Then who do we blame? We blame for the byproduct.
Having gone through this process, Nigeria has now become the first country in West Africa to undergo the second peer review exercise and the fourth in the whole of Africa. Her commitment to the African Union development has surely been demonstrated in her lead and openness to the African peer review mechanism, especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic. It is hoped that Nigeria's experience will be used to address some fundamental challenges within Africa's contemporary socio-economic developments, including deepening democracy for all.